That's always good. Nothing like a 60-degree swing in the temperature to make people feel better, at least when it's coming from cold to warm. Eric, you know you got some big shoes to fill here today. Taking over for Ryan. All right, great. Well, folks, thanks for joining us for our press briefing with regard to the pandemic and other issues. Today, of course, we want to just start by reminding people we have a pandemic in progress. So please continue to use all the tools we have given you to be able to slow the spread of the virus. That means keep that 6 foot of distance between you and other people when you're out in public, wear a mask when you go to the store, wash your hands often for 20 seconds at a time, and please, 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 if you have that cough, that fever, if you've lost your sense of taste and smell, stay home. Go get tested at testnebraska.com, but we don't want you spreading the virus, and you may have the virus if you have those symptoms. So please stay home. You can go get tested at testnebraska.com. Easy to sign up, easy to do. We've delivered over 680,000 test results back, so please take advantage of that. We got that turning around in less than 24 hours. I think last week we had it turn around in like 14 hours, so we're getting those test results back pretty quick. I went a week ago Sunday and got mine back in 7.5 hours, so it can be very, very quick. Also avoid the 3 C's, you know, those close contacts, confined spaces, crowded places. That's also where the virus likes to spread, so you can slow it down there. Obviously, we do have the vaccines are available, and I want to thank Creighton University for the mass vaccination site that they set up on Saturday. They set up on campus there at their indoor soccer field. It was open for 9 a.m. to 12, or 9 a.m. to 12, or to 9 p.m., and they processed nearly 4,800 vaccines. It was 4,798. And it ran very, very smoothly. I want to thank the students, the faculty, the staff that volunteered. It was a completely volunteer program. It just went very, very smoothly. It was done wonderfully well. So I want to thank all the folks at Creighton University who helped make that happen. It really was a great, great day for us to get that many people vaccinated. And I think that was a record for Douglas County. So thank you all for that. One of the things that we have seen with this pandemic is obviously that a lot of people have been impacted when last spring we took the restrictions we put in place as we continue those throughout the summer, got tighter during the fall. So we had a lot of restrictions on things like bars and restaurants. Well, that then impacts the people who are working in those industries. And if you're a renter, that impacted your ability to pay the rent. If you're a landlord, it impacted your ability to get the rent. So last December, Congress passed one of the emergency packages to be able to help with that. And on January 5th, the Treasury Department announced their Emergency Rental Assistance Program. It was a $25 billion program to be able to help out folks, both tenants and landlords, who are being impacted by the pandemic. Nebraska received $200 million of that $25 billion. And we, when I say Nebraska, that means the state of Nebraska, but also local entities as well. So the state is responsible for distributing about $158 million of that $200 million. And then other entities such as Douglas County, Lancaster County, the city of Lincoln, the city of Omaha, they are also going to have their own programs. Now, today what we're announcing is that we're standing up our program here at the state today. And so we've got Shannon Harner, who's the Executive Director of the Nebraska Investment Finance Authority, here to talk about the website, how people will be able to apply. She's going to have some slides to be able to show you on this. And now what I want to remind people, though, is this is the state's program. If you're in one of those localities, like, say, Lincoln or Omaha or Douglas County or Lancaster County, you're going to have to use that entity's program. We set NIFA, we worked with NIFA to be able to set this program up, but if you're, so this will be for the state area, but if you're not, if you're in one of those areas that got that money that didn't come to the state, you'll have to go to those programs, and those programs are not set up at this time. So, but the website should be able to make that all very clear, right, Shannon? Yes. Okay, great. The website's going to make that very clear. So, Shannon, will you please come up? And Shannon's actually relatively new. She's been the executive director for about 5 months. So please tell us a little about this program.
Thank you, Governor. NIFA is the state of Nebraska's housing finance agency, and as such, it's appropriate that we work in partnership with the state to ensure the success of this program. It's our commitment to quickly communicate the availability and guidelines of this program to those who are most in need in order to keep Nebraska renters safely housed and Nebraska's landlords able to pay the mortgages on their rental units. The latest round of COVID relief funding provided our state, as the governor just mentioned, with $200 million of emergency rental assistance funding, of which $158 million will be administered and distributed by the state to persons in all counties other than Douglas and Lancaster, along with the cities of Omaha and Lincoln, which received separate funds. Applicants residing in these areas will have the ability to apply to those respective programs toward the beginning of March, with more information to be provided as it becomes available. The state's program provides assistance for both rent and eligible tenant-paid utilities, including electricity, gas, water, and garbage. This program is intended only for renters and not for homeowners, according to the federal guidance. The program can provide relief for past due rent as far back as April 1st of last year, and as well as future rent up to 3-month periods at a time. But no one applicant or household can apply for more than 15 months total assistance or more than $20,000 of assistance. A tenant must be living in the property for which assistance is requested, so a landlord who's already evicted a tenant should not apply for this program. When approved, payment will be made directly to the landlord or to the utility providers on behalf of the tenant. It's important to note that unlike previous rounds of relief, either the landlord or the tenant can make an application in this case. In any case, both the landlord and the tenant will be required to verify information and provide relevant documentation. A landlord with multiple tenants or properties will be able to see all properties and tenants in their landlord portal. In the event a landlord does not choose to participate, the tenant may apply these funds to their rental obligation. Only tenants whose household income is verified at less than 80% of the area median income of their county will be eligible for assistance. It may be that a tenant is only recently reached that 80% average median income level, or it may be that they've always been at the average median level of 80% or lower. In addition to income limit eligibility, tenants should remember the 3 L's: lease, landlord, and loss of income. Approval requires a copy of the current lease with the applicant who is a party to that lease. It requires contact with the landlord for verification of current tenancy, amounts due, and other verification information, and it requires documentation of demonstrated loss of household income as a result of, either directly or indirectly, the COVID-19 pandemic. As the governor noted earlier, this program goes live today. At 11 o'clock this morning, either landlords or tenants will be able to begin an online application at the website www.coronavirus.nebraska.gov, which you see on the screen. The first view you will see is a pop-out with the COVID-19 relief information. After dismissing the pop-out, you will see the main page, which allows entry into the system either from the top navigation bar or the box that specifically talks about the ERA program. The program information has frequently asked questions, an application guide both for tenants and for landlords, they're separate, and other program eligibility information. Next, the entry page has a button to start your application process. Let's flip one more. Yep. Okay, one more flip. Okay, so you'll see here on the side where you can have all of the information about the program, and one more slide. You'll see the button where you can apply for the application. Once you get into the next page, which we don't have a screenshot of, you will be able to apply as a landlord or as a tenant. They're 2 separate entrances into the system. We strongly encourage that you take the time to read the FAQs and the application guide so that you have all of the documentation gathered together when you make the application. You will be uploading the documentation that's required to verify your eligibility at the time you're going through the application. You can save a draft form if you don't have a document with you and come back to that later before you finally submit the documentation. NYFA's website and YouTube channels, nyfa.org, will have additional training materials and webinars about the program, as well as additional information when we have it about the other programs, the Omaha and Lincoln, Lancaster, and Douglas County programs when they are available. A call center is available starting today at 10:30. It will be available in general Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. And at least this first weekend, we're gauging traffic. It will be open on Saturday and Sunday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. The number for that call center is 833-500-8810. We appreciate your assistance in making both landlords and tenants aware of the Emergency Rental Assistance Program and how to apply. Are there any questions?
We'll get questions afterwards.
Okay.
Great, thank you very much, Shannon. 1-833-500-8810, is that what was it? That was the number? Yep. That's a good number. That's an easier number to remember, so great job. All right. So again, folks, if you're a tenant or a landlord, you can apply. Again, folks in Lancaster County, Douglas County, Omaha, and Lincoln, you can apply directly to those entities, and as Shannon said, those will be up in March. But if you're not in those entities, you can apply to the state's website that she was talking about. And that starts at 11 a.m. today. All right, this is also FFA week. So it is not only FFA week here in Nebraska, but a national FFA week. FFA is a program that works with young people who are interested in agriculture. Now, here in Nebraska, agriculture is our state's #1 industry. It's the heart and soul of what we do here in our state. People have been raising crops and livestock literally for centuries here in our state. And we want to make sure that young people know about all the great career opportunities. I mean, we have hundreds of multi-generational farm and ranch families here that are feeding our entire nation. And just like any other industry, you have to keep up on the innovations and the technology, and we have to continue to do that to increase productivity to feed a growing world. And that's the opportunity that FFA provides, is for young people to be able to get involved and be able to see what are the careers available in agriculture. How do we continue to make sure we've got the leaders that are going to grow our state's #1 industry? And what are the innovations that we're going to continue to focus on? It's those young people coming in that are the ones most likely to adopt the new technologies and new innovations and be able to keep pushing agriculture forward to be able to feed that growing world. And I can't think of a more noble mission than that. So it's very exciting to have FFA week here in Nebraska. We've got a couple of speakers. First of all, I want to recognize Steve Wellman, who is our Department of Agriculture, the Director for Department of Agriculture. Steve's in the audience here today. Steve, thank you for joining us. Steve's actually not going to be speaking today, but Steve, I appreciate all the work the Department of Agriculture does to be able to help assist with FFA and promote it and everything like that. You do a great job in engaging young people in our state's #1 industry here. And before I call up our speakers, I also want to remind people that, you know, this is not just about production agriculture either, right? There's a lot of different careers that we have available in agriculture that are related to, again, our state's #1 industry here. If you think about becoming an agronomist or a soil scientist or a grain elevator operator or a forester, I mean, there's just so many different fields that are available to be able to get involved with agriculture, whether you're a botanist or a veterinarian, just loan officer for a bank for agricultural things. There's just so many different career fields you can pick when it comes to agriculture. And in fact, the estimates are that while we're generally going to need something like 57,000 folks every year for different jobs in agriculture, we're probably only going to be turning out about 35,000 out of our nation's universities. So there's lots of opportunities for young people who are interested in agriculture. So anyway, today we have one of those young people who's going to come up and talk here in just a minute, and that is Madison Strachey, who is the president for FFA for the state of Nebraska. She is from Stewart, and she's going to be talking a little bit about FFA Week and what the FFA is involved with. And then we also have Lance Atwater, who is a farmer by around Air in south central Nebraska, who is going to come up and talk about that as well, and he's also on the board of the Nebraska Farm Bureau. So we're going to start first, though, with Madison Strachey. Madison, you want to come up and share a little bit with us about FFA Week? Oh, wait, stop, before you do that. Sorry, I forgot. I almost forgot my part here. We got to actually officially proclaim it FFA Week here in Nebraska, so hold on just a second. Let me get this signed and make it all official. All right, now why don't you come on up and you can accept the proclamation and say a few words. How's that? Like this? All right, thanks.
Thank you, Governor Ricketts, first off. I am Madison Strachey, and I am from the Stewart FFA chapter. I'm currently serving as the Nebraska FFA state president. And it's truly an honor to have this week declared FFA week here in Nebraska. FFA develops premier leadership, career success, and personal growth. Members learn about this and connect with agriculture industries in our state, our nation, and throughout the world. This week, we recognize and celebrate Nebraska FFA members and chapters. There are many local and virtual opportunities that are happening this week. Chapters can participate in community service activities, host ag safety and awareness events for their school or other students, and they can have trivia for their school. There's so much that individual chapters put on. FFA members across the state will be virtually joining the Nebraska FFA state officers to participate in workshops and live sessions that enhance their skills. With nearly 10,000 FFA members, 200 chapters, and 226 advisors or teachers, this school year, this will be a week filled with learning, growth, and celebration. Agriculture education provides classroom instruction in agriculture, food and natural resources, leadership-based activities, and competitions through FFA and supervised agriculture experiences, where students apply knowledge and skills that they learn from the classroom and put them in real work-based learning situations. Students put countless hours into each of these three components. FFA members develop skills for future careers, leadership positions, and involvement in their communities and the agriculture industry. Throughout my involvement in FFA, I participated in a variety of activities, including team events, where I learned to value of working cooperatively and collaboratively with others. My parliamentary procedure team in high school would practice hours each week in order to prepare for competitions. In my supervised agriculture experience, I was able to apply knowledge that I learned from the classroom and take it home with me to my family ranch and farm. FFA has given me the unique opportunity of continual growth that will help me throughout the rest of my life. Nebraska FFA is currently preparing for the 93rd virtual Nebraska FFA State Convention that will be taking place April 7th, 8th, and 9th. There will be virtual competitions before and during that week and engaging activities for all members across Nebraska. We are excited to highlight the hard work and dedication of all FFA members and chapters. We are beyond grateful to have such strong support here in Nebraska for FFA. It is truly an organization that will have a forever impact. Agriculture will never disappear, so we will always have a great need for great leaders and advocates in the agriculture industry. So therefore, our future depends on the FFA members of today. Again, thank you, Governor, for your recognition of Nebraska FFA Week. Thank you.
Oh, Madison, don't forget to take this with you. All right, great. Well, thank you very much, Madison. Very impressive. 10,000 students and 200 chapters. That's awesome. All right. Well, now let's go ahead and call up FFA board member Lance Atwater to come up and say a few words as well.
Good morning. My name is Lance Atwater, and I farm near Air, Nebraska. And I appreciate the opportunity today to be here with Governor Ricketts and others as we celebrate National FFA Week. My roots in FFA go way back, and I attribute to where I am today as an individual as well as a leader because of my FFA experiences. Nebraska Farm Bureau has been a proud and continues to be a proud supporter of Nebraska FFA. Many of our current Farm Bureau members have gone through FFA, and that's where they got their first taste and experiences in developing their leadership skills. Nebraska Farm Bureau continues to work with FFA. We partner with the Nebraska FFA Foundation to make sure we're enhancing opportunities for students across the state of Nebraska. Again, my roots in FFA go back to being a former FFA member in Blue Hill. I'm a past state FFA officer, currently serve on the Nebraska FFA Foundation Board of Directors, and I am also have the privilege of serving as a Youth at-Large Director on the Nebraska Farm Bureau Board of Directors. Again, if it wasn't for my past FFA experience, I don't know if I would have been able to do that. And again, Farm Bureau is so proud to be able to partner with the Nebraska FFA Foundation to support these students in growing their opportunities in agriculture, developing their leadership skills. So again, on behalf of Nebraska Farm Bureau and our members, I want to wish all FFA members a happy National FFA Week, and we are also excited to work with this next generation of agriculturalists as we move agriculture forward together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lance. All right, so for the upcoming schedule, on Wednesday, I will be at the Hy-Vee in Lincoln at 10 a.m. Central Time to do a supermarket team member appreciation day, really thanking all of our workers in the grocery industry for being innovative and creative as we go through this pandemic, for working in ways to be able to slow the spread of the virus, and of course, remaining open to be able to continue to make sure we would have access to those groceries. So looking forward to being able to say thank you to all those folks at Hy-Vee on Wednesday. And then we will be back in here 10 a.m. on Friday Central Time to have another press briefing as we ordinarily do. Okay, with that, we'll go ahead and get into questions and answers. So we got a couple of questions that were submitted ahead of time. Ruta Elsonaidi from CAMTV asked, some counties are not receiving their vaccines due to national shipping delays this week. What is to blame for the delay, and whether was the reason that those vaccines were delayed? We have been told that we should be getting caught up on all those vaccines by the end of the day today. So we've been checking with different folks around the state. Shipments are coming in today, so we're expecting that all the vaccines we did not receive last week should be in by the end of the day today. Patrick Jansen from News Channel Nebraska. Regarding the state data that is used to determine vaccination priority, how is that information collected, and what specific data analysis is used? So that is done by our epidemiologists and public health officials in the Department of Public Health, where we collect data through vital records to be able to figure out who's getting sick and why. A lot of the data is actually, you can see a sample of some of the data that's published on our website when you look at things like race and ethnicity, age, that sort of thing. We try to collect additional data through vital records and use that as we're looking at, say, mortality rates and that kind of thing. So that's all done by our folks there. And if you want more specific information, please just reach out. We can certainly, Taylor Gage can help you with regard to, if you've got more specific questions there, Patrick, of what you're looking for. Taylor, do we have any other questions that were sent in ahead of time?
With a few, Mark Balmer with KSMB wanted your comment on LB 451, which is Senator Mckinney's bill to end natural hair discrimination. He says if passed, would you veto this bill, and why or why not? Do you have safety concerns related to this bill, and if so, what are they?
Mark Balmer, KSMB, is asking about Senator McKinney's bill with regard to racial discrimination and hair. And this was a bill that I vetoed last year and outlined in my veto message the reasons for that. It had two primary reasons. One, you have to stick to things that are immutable, things that you cannot change, due to your race. And also the safety concerns that Mark mentioned as well. There were safety concerns that you have to be able to, if you're in an industrial setting, for example, be able to prescribe certain safety things to be able to make sure everybody stays safe. So those are a couple of the concerns that I have with regard to that bill, and had offered to work on a version of the bill that would help protect against discrimination, because that is actually a very real issue that people are discriminated against because of their hair. That is related to race, and that is something that we can address, but we have to do it in the proper way. So at the end of the day, the bill has to be structured in the proper way to be able to, for me to sign off on it. And I'm certainly welcome to continue to work with Senator McKinney or anybody else with regard to how we can do that.
Brian with WWT says, since Friday, they've heard from a number of Nebraskans who understand how they're being pushed down the list of vaccine phases. He says it was just a couple weeks ago that HHS released a chart of conditions that would qualify. Do you understand their frustration?
So Brian with WWT is saying they're hearing from people with previously existing conditions about their frustration with regard to the vaccine priority. And we certainly understand. I would say, first of all, nothing's changed for those folks from the standpoint of as we began this process for Phase 1B, we were always focusing on people who were 65 years and older. And as we've continued to analyze that data, one of the things we've seen is that, we put this chart up last week, is that the single biggest correlation is going to be age. Now, remember, as you get older, you're going to have more of these underlying conditions. You're going to have these comorbidities. And so if you look at it from a broad picture, those are the folks who are going to be most at risk. And so, again, as I highlighted last week, if you look at that cohort that is age 50 to 59, and again, those people will have those comorbidities, there are more than twice as many people who died in that one 10-year cohort as everybody age 49 years and younger. So if you think that even if everybody in that younger category had one single comorbidity, and they don't, but let's say they did, if they all had one single comorbidity, it still wouldn't be as much risk as those people who are in the age 50 to 59 category. So we're doing this based on risk and how we can, again, try and keep folks from getting that severe disease and having those severe reactions, including death. And the way that we're approaching it right now is going to be with regard to age. That hasn't changed. So we weren't taking comorbidities into consideration before so much. That hasn't changed. And I would say with regard to future information, just stay tuned. We'll have more information down the road on that too.
Brent from Channel 8 has two questions. First one is for Dr. Antone. He says, wants to know, as the state's top doctor, do you agree that age is the single biggest reason that people are dying from coronavirus?
Sure. And I'm sorry, who was that again?
Brent from Channel 8.
Brent from Channel 8 would like Dr. Antone to come up, and as the Chief Medical Officer for the state, do you agree with the priority of age 65 and above as being the top priority?
So when we showed the chart over the last couple weeks as far as our death rates and people with COVID, and then when you look at the data from our epidemiology team, it's pretty glaring that the age is the #1 factor. As the governor said, there are twice as many people in the 50 to 59 age group dying as there are everybody less than age 49 or less. And so we know that those people that are 49 or less are going to have some comorbidities. But when you add up the numbers, it's pretty glaringly obvious that age is the #1 reason for dying of COVID. So I do agree with that.
Brent's second question is, HHS data shows the federal pharmacy program is lagging behind the state in the percentage of doses it's administering. Why do you think that is, and do you think those doses would be more efficiently administered through local health departments?
So Brent's also asking about the federal pharmacy program for both retail and long-term care shows that federal program is lagging behind the state with regard to getting vaccines out. And the question was, why do we think that is? And then do I think it would be more efficient to give the vaccines to the state? So with regard to the reasons for it, there's a couple of reasons. One is probably just a reporting lag. So again, the federal government is in charge of those programs. We at the state are not receiving any of those vaccines. We don't have any control over it. And that means also the reporting is not done through the state. So they are going up to the federal government, and then the information is coming back down to us. Now, we are reaching out to those pharmacies to be able to get better data. But again, this is a federal program, so it's run by the federal government. So that's one of the reasons why there's just a lag in the reporting. Also, just when that pharmacy program for long-term care, for example, got started, we saw some providers like the Nebraska-based pharmacy or provider community pharmacy, they were very quick to be able to get those vaccines administered, while some of the national organizations like Walgreens and CVS were slower to get that out by a couple of weeks. So there's a difference there with regard to the organization of getting those things out. So to answer his second question, do I think those things would be more effective distributed to the state? And the answer is absolutely yes. I think At this stage where we are right now, the state is going to be more efficient, and it's proven by the numbers that we can show you on the state's dashboard, that the state will do a better job of getting those vaccines out in a quicker order. And so that's one of the things that on our White House calls, I've mentioned that I encourage the federal government to do a better job working with the states directly. We share the same goals, we want to accomplish the same things, and we can help them with regard to accomplishing those goals. And that's all Taylor's got. What about questions in the room? Andrew?
Where does that group from 18 to 64 with those disabilities fall now?
So Andrew's asking, where does that group 18 to 64 fall right now? And again, right now we're focusing on age 65 and above. So if you've got those comorbidities, I said we'll give you more information with regard to where that group falls as we have the information available.
And you were saying last week that you have that questionnaire on the state website. Will we put that into play, I guess, when you determine the order of the 64 to 18?
So the question was, we ask when you fill out when you go sign up for the vaccine, we're collecting information on people's medical history, or we're asking people to give us information on that. And will that be used as part of the program? And yes, we're collecting that data, and that shapes also how we're thinking about the priorities for the vaccine.
Shouldn't there be some kind of appeal mechanism for somebody who has special circumstances, like the woman that we wrote about in the Saturday paper? She's got a husband who's got, serious medical issues, and she's staying home. Shouldn't there be some way for them to get an exception so they can get a shot?
So Paul's asking, shouldn't there be a way to get an exception? And I'd say, for people who are in that younger age category, certainly, you may be able to find individuals who have a great story, as the World Health reported on. But at the end of the day is very clear with regard to who is most at risk. And so that's what we're pursuing right now. And with regard to folks who are in that younger category and with those comorbidities, how they're going to be handled, I'd say, we'll have more information for that down the road. Andrew, sorry. I'm going to go back to Paul. It seems like he's a follow-on question.
So it looks like the state's doing pretty well in getting the first shot in, the second shot in, but they rank like 45th in the percentage of shots they've got in the arms based on how many doses they have. Why is that? I think I know the answer, but why is that?
So Paul's asking, we're doing a pretty good job of getting first and second doses in. And I don't know where we are in the New York Times with regard to second dose, which is really what we're kind of focused on. 25th, somewhere in that. So, and we want to do better than that. Trust me, we want to do better. But why does it look like we're number 45 as far as the overall doses getting out there? And I think part of it is we are working on the data side on this. So we've got to do a better job as far as data reporting on our side. We're also working with the CDC with regard to how they're doing data reporting. We've had ongoing conversations with the CDC, several phone calls with regard to how they're doing their data reporting so that we can do a better job of giving them data and how their data is working out, trying to close that gap with regard to what's actually been received in Nebraska versus just allocated and not received, that kind of thing. So we're continuing to work on the system to be able to make sure it accurately reflects where we are with regard to getting that vaccine out.
Is the state considering, if we have this pot of doses out there that aren't being administered, are you still considering giving this the first shot, waiting for the second shot to be delivered later? Instead of bankrolling that second shot?
So the question was, are we, if we've got a bunch of vaccines sitting out there for second doses, are we considering using those as first doses and then following up later? Is that the question, Paul, really? Yeah. So we're actually still going to continue to use our first dose allocations for first doses and second dose allocations for second doses. I think a lot of what you're seeing also there, like I said, is really data reporting issues. And that's, we certainly want to continue to focus on getting vaccines out quickly. We did the mass vaccination clinic at Creighton where we got out nearly 4,800 vaccines in just one 12-hour period. So we want to continue to look for opportunities to be able to do that. But part of it also is making sure we're doing a good job on the data reporting, which I think is part of the issue for some of these lagging numbers.
Manufacturing isn't consistent enough now to just count on that second dose coming?
So the question was, manufacturing just isn't consistent enough to count on that second dose coming. Well, at some point, you still have to give the second dose. And so we want to make sure that we're lining up those first doses and second doses. And right now, we just want to make sure that if we get somebody a first dose, when the time period goes by, 3 or 4 weeks, we've got that second dose available. So if you think about it, if you moved up those first doses and maybe you did have a problem with the allocation like we did last week, that potentially puts that in jeopardy. So we want to make sure that we're keeping that second dose available to be able to make sure the person gets fully vaccinated, has that full immunity when they get that second dose. Yeah, Andrew.
Have you gotten an update on the shipments that were supposed to come in last week yet?
Yeah, so the question Andrew's asking is about the shipments that were supposed to come in last week, and that was the same question Ruta had. So because of weather delays, we didn't receive many of our shipments. I think Lincoln, Lancaster, and Douglas both got some of their shipments, if not all their shipments last week, but other areas did not. And so we're expecting that all those shipments that we missed last week are going to be arriving by the end of the day today. Yeah.
And I have a question about the rental assistance program. I guess a clarification, so the majority of the money, $158 million, is going to the rest of the state, and then the two largest population bases are only getting $42 million?
So the question was, Nebraska's being allocated $200 million total through the Emergency Rental Assistance Program from the federal government. The state is getting $158 million to administer. Douglas and Lancaster counties and the city of Omaha and city of Lincoln are getting the balance, the $42 million. And is that number accurate? And yes, that number is accurate. That's how the money's being administered. Shannon, I don't know, do you have any other further details you want to talk about how that determination is made?
Thank you, Governor. That amount, so everyone had to make a determination whether they were going to apply for the funding or not directly to the federal government. So the city of Lincoln, city of Omaha, Lancaster County, and Douglas County all made their own individual applications, and that was calculated at the federal government level by the Treasury regarding who got what funds and how. So we know the minimum amount that any state could have gotten was 110% of the funds based on the calculation. We got a little bit more than 110% of the calculation. I really don't know why, because we didn't do those calculations. But the thing to note is that the reason we can't, through the state, assist with the other jurisdictions at this time is that there's a prohibition regarding double dipping. And we cannot accurately determine whether people in Lancaster County have applied to Lancaster County and to the state program while the Lancaster County still has funds. Once all of the funds in the other jurisdictions have been exhausted and they are totally out of funds, at that point the state can consider taking excess funds and helping to support those, but not until that time.
And is there a concern that by that time the money will run out for your two largest population bases?
You know, we don't.
Repeat the question, please, Shannon.
The question was, is there a concern that the money will run out for the two largest population bases by the time those funds are exhausted in Lancaster, Douglas, Lincoln, and Omaha? I mean, it is possible that that could happen. I don't think that will happen. I think we have enough with $200 million to fund a significant number of persons with regard to the ERA program. But we cannot guarantee that. We just simply don't know.
We have time for a couple more questions.
All right, we got time for a couple more questions. Yes, Andrew.
Is that your intent, Governor, that if Lincoln and Omaha run out of the funds, that you will backfill those with any existing money from what the state has?
Yeah, so Andrew's asking if the intent would be that if Lincoln and Omaha and Douglas and Lancaster County use up the funds they've been allocated, as Shannon was describing, and the state has excess funds still available, would we use that for the Lincoln, Omaha, Lancaster, Douglas County? And the answer is yes. Paul?
Have an opinion on ranked choice voting?
Do I have an opinion on ranked choice voting? I'm against it. I think we should stick with the type of voting we have right now.
Why is that?
I think that is the system that most people are comfortable with. It's the system we've got, and that's the system we should stick with.
Time for the last question.
All right, one last question. All right, seeing none. Again, folks, thank you very much. Remember, I'll be at Hy-Vee here in Lincoln on Wednesday at 10 a.m. Central Time. Back here in the briefing room, 10 a.m. Friday Central Time, and we'll do another update. But thank you all very much for all that you're doing to slow down the spread of the virus. Please remember to avoid the 3 Cs, use all the tools, sign up for testnebraska.com. And then, of course, we do want people to go ahead and sign up at vaccinate.ne.gov. That number is 833-998-2275 if you want to call in, but please use the website vaccinate.ne.gov to sign up to get your vaccine. And we look forward to seeing you all back here in this room again on Friday. Thank you very much. I'm sorry. Thank you very much, Francis. Appreciate it. I thought you were holding up your hand like I had forgotten something, Justin. You were just stopping the Facebook Live. I get it. Thank you, Eric, for your help today.